I was not sure that I was going to do these while I was having my month off, but I thought today we've got some goodies that have arrived, so I thought we'd have a look at those, and I thought we would also, you can see some rattlings there, I also thought we'd do some progress report on L'Orient, and we'll see how that's going. Now, unfortunately, the way I normally do these is I have my laptop on as well, so I can read the comments on the laptop whilst I'm recording on here. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be getting the internet up here in the attic, but we'll see how it goes. So, what I want to start off with today is we've got our 2 unpainted copies of L'Orient. Now, I've actually done a little bit of work on our painted ones as well. I've got this one here. So, this is the one that we're going to be spending most time on today. You can see that it's closed up, this one, so the guns haven't been run out on this one. It might be easy if you look at it from above. There we go. And then I've done a little bit of work on this one here. Hello, William. I've done a little bit of work on this one here. Now, the deck's gone very blotchy, so I'm not sure about that one, but you can see the guns have been run out on that one. So we're going to be doing a bit more work on this one as well. I'm going to concentrate on this one, but we'll be doing a little bit of work on this as well. Hello, Clive. So what I wanted to start off with, however, is Warlord Games recently had a sale going on. And what does the man who has pretty much everything, and apart from the time to paint it, what did he buy himself in the sale? Well, there's only one thing he can buy himself. It is, of course, the Imperial Guard Band. Now, this is the Paintalong special deal. I think it was 25% off, I think. And basically what it is I've consolidated this a little bit. It's the Imperial Guard Engineers plus the band of the Imperial Guard as well. So, hello, Will. That is perfect timing indeed. So what I thought we'd have a look at first is we'd have a look at the band. Now, there aren't that many poses here. There's a lot of repeated poses, which I guess, you know, if you're marching in a band is reasonable. Let me just put that on top of there to stop that flipping back. So we've got these 4 compartments, and they are all chock full of goodness. So to start off with, we've got the drummers. Now these, as I say, they're all the same pose. Let me get another one, for example. So there we go. You can see they are identical, which is a little bit of a shame. But as I say, they are marching, so I guess they would probably all look pretty much the same. Now this is very much in the style of a Warlord metal. They're quite thin. Well, they're not beefy. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say they're thin. They are beefy. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Chesbury. Yeah, Chesbury. Now I have to say that these are these not probably a great example because he's got the drum. But let's take this guy as another example. Now you can see side on, he's not actually that thick with 2 C's. Hello, Lucas. He's quite thin, but I have to say, I really like it. I think this is potentially a little bit more realistic than the beefcakes that the Perrys and Front Rank do. I think maybe it could be a little bit thicker in the chest in particular. He is quite thin, but I actually quite like that. There's almost a semi sort of flat look about him, so I don't mind those at all. He is quite nice. Now, who's this guy here? What's he doing? Oh, he's got like a saxophone. I'm sure it's not called a saxophone. I'm sure it's called something else. These are the Imperial Guard marching band, Andreas. So I got them in the Warlord sale recently. So he's got the so he's quite nice. He's tooting his tutor. That's what we like. So we like toots being tooted. Yeah. So these are pretty good. What am I going to do with them? I've got absolutely no idea. I'll tell you what I am almost certainly going to do with them, and that is leave them unpainted for absolutely ages, because they are going to take some painting. Hello, Christopher. If we look at, I'm going to move that out of the way. If we look at this guy is a drum major. Now, he is absolutely gorgeous. He is really, really nice. There's a lot of braiding on here. Let me grab a brush. So there's a lot of what do you call it? Braiding. I'm going to go with braiding, and that's not what I mean. But down the edges of his sash there, he's got buttonholes. He's got lace on there as well, so that's lovely. He's got all the lace on his bicorn as well. He's absolutely fantastic. He's lovely. This is going to be gold chasing on his cane as well. So this is going to be an absolutely gorgeous model. I'm looking forward to they get to, well, I think they probably should, Chris, you know me. I'm really looking forward to getting around to painting these. However, unfortunately, they have to be at the bottom of the pile. Lucas may know that I purchased some figures from his website at the weekend. I got some files for the Bavarians in greatcoats, so I'm looking forward to painting those up. I've resisted printing them just yet because I'm waiting for the command in greatcoats, Lucas. Cough, cough, cough. Although don't let that take away from you doing the French for 1809. So stick with those first. That's more important. Now, the reason why I've opened this one is not to go for more band members, although we do have more band members, but it is for these chaps here. Now, these are the Imperial Guard engineers or pioneers. So we can see he's got his axe. He's got his axe there. He's got it over his shoulder, so he's marching as well. And again, he's quite nice. He's clearly doing quite a deliberate march, so he can be nicely on parade. He's got his carbine over his shoulder there. Now, I got a set of these as part of this. I think I've got 8. Let me just, or was it 4? Let me double check. How many? Yeah, we've got 8 in there. So we've got 3 there and 2 there. These came in a separate packet, but I've just tried to consolidate everything into the 2 boxes, which then go into one of the sleeves. So there's a nice set. I would probably base them on thick base with some loudspeakers. That would be very cool. In fact, I am hopefully going to do something similar for a mosque that my brother is currently printing for me. So that's the band of the Imperial Guard. I just wanted to show that they are actually really nice models. They're quite expensive. I think they're about 50 quid. So I mean that's money that could go on to actual useful figures, which these are very much not. He's a nice symbols guy there. But you know, if you're not sure what you want to buy, if you've got everything that you need, maybe a relative is saying, oh, you know, what would you like for your Christmas or your birthday or something like that, then something that you wouldn't necessarily buy yourself can be a nice little present. So he's quite nice as well, playing the fife. So no, I think they're lovely. I'm very impressed with those. As I say, they're going to be a bit of a nightmare to paint. What they may end up being is I may tackle them as being like individual units. So all of the flute players are one unit, as it were. All of the tambourists are another unit, and so on and so forth. So that's just what I wanted to quickly show you there. They are very nice, as I say. Would recommend. Good stuff. Now, I did have something else I brought up as well, which I quickly wanted to go through, because I actually put an advert for this broadcast on the Age of Sail gaming page as well. So I don't want to talk about just bands and things like that, because that would be false advertising. That would be very naughty. Ah, yes, here we are. Now, this is another set that I bought. Now, this is an STL set that I bought from, I can't remember who from, but they are Ottoman admirals. So what I thought, as some of you may know, I've got myself an Ottoman army. So these are admirals, but they make perfectly good generals as well. So I thought what we'd do while we were here today is we glue one of them together and we'd have a look at what he looks like when finished. Now, he looks a bit more like a bay to me. These guys look more like frontline commanders in their armor. He's quite nice with his staff of office as well. Now, this guy, he's been cut off at the knees, as you can see. It's rather unfortunate. I've got the rest of his base here. Now, luckily, I'll be able to glue him straight back on there. One of the problems with these STLs is as you're peeling them off the supports, if the feet are too well supported and they're wearing quite thin, like ankles. So these guys, as I said, they've got quite baggy trousers on, but the ankles are quite thin, so they can snap there as you're trying to pull them off the supports. So that can be something of an issue. What I'm going to do, though, is let's glue together this guy. He should be fairly easy to glue together. And let's do this guy here as well. So we'll do those for today. Now, I've printed the full set. So we've got heads, we've got scimitars, we've got all sorts of goodness. We've got helmeted heads, we've got turbaned heads, all the goodness. So what I'm going to do is we'll start off and we'll glue this guy to his base. Now, let's see if I've actually got glue that works this time. If I'm not responding to your comments, then I apologize. My normal, the normal way I look at it is I have my laptop on, and that shows me the comments a little bit longer. But unfortunately, it's not connecting to the internet today. So I'm up in the attic, and despite having a boosted router, it doesn't quite extend up this far. It's in our kitchen. We should probably move it to the landing, to be honest. So there we go. He is good to go. Hopefully he's going to stay there and dry whilst we move on to this chap. Now, I've left some of the supports on while he was curing. So we can see there's a couple of supports here. So let's just nip those off. So what's people up to today? I saw someone is doing their Russian Grenadiers. What's anyone else painting? And is anyone going to BrickCon this weekend? That's a show here in the UK. It used to be in Manchester. It's now in Nottingham, in the centre of the Lead Belt. And it's a bit more of a tournament-focused show. But it's a two-dayer, which is quite rare. In fact, it may actually be the only two-dayer. Maybe Reading. Is Reading still going, Warfare? But, yes, I know it's hot water, Clive. Yeah, it's just in this case, it wasn't quite hot enough, clearly. But that's absolutely fine. So you're at the Lard Workshop at BrickCon. Oh, I may try and bring your rules. Oh, actually, you're at the club tomorrow. Because if so, I can bring your Napoleonic rules back for you. I bought the band last month. They are very good. I was thinking about adding some sort of morale booster to any units within earshot. That's pretty much what I thought as well, to be honest. Let me have a look. Wargames Atlantic? Yes, they are Wargames Atlantic. Thank you, Andreas. Yes, they are. What formation will I put them in? What formation will I put them in? I wish someone would give a clear answer to the best formation for the French. I'm tempted by extended line. I think I'll probably go with that one for them. Hope I like the Bavarians in coats. I will do some more soon, I guess. I'm certain I will. I bought the wrong ones, to be honest. I bought the Grenadiers with the plan of just getting one set, printing them, and then taking it from there. And I bought the Grenadiers instead of the line, and so I thought, oh well, I may as well buy the line now as well, hadn't I? So you got two sales out of me. So I've got the guy here now. What am I going to do with him? He doesn't look particularly martial to me. And he's not wearing armor, so some of these arms have got armor on. So I could put these to one side. So there we go. Let's get rid of those. This one looks like it's wearing armor as well. Yep. Cool. So, and also head-wise, now this is an absolutely gorgeous head. Look at that. That is lovely. He's got like a chainmail neck guard on. The nasal protector here is like folded up. This is an absolutely gorgeous piece. I'm going to keep that because that may go on our friend over here. I've got the same thing here, but with a slightly less fancy thing on the top. You're at the club tomorrow. Cool. Okay, I'll bring those rules down for you. Currently painting shield decals on Anglo-Saxon levy, so not quite Napoleonic. But once I cleared out the Anglo-Saxons, well, that's fair enough. Saxons are pretty cool. I need to get work on my Normans as well, actually. Yes, don't tell Dan that I've not been working on my Normans. So what have we got? So we've got some bearded heads here. Now I'm going to have this guy as being quite a high commander, I think. So I've got quite a crazy bearded head there. I quite like that one. This guy looks like it's the same head. It is. So I think I'm leaning towards this. That's a metallic arm. Another metallic arm there. A metallic head. So we can clear out the ones that don't fit this guy fairly easily. So I've got fancy turban with big feathery plume. I've got fancy turban but with no big feathery plume. Or I've got wild crazy turban. I think I'm going to go with, or quite neat and put together. I think this guy, he strikes me as being an older gentleman. So I'm going to give him a little dab on the neck. Now, normally, I would glue the arms on first, but I've got an idea of which ones I'm going to use for this guy. So I'm going to put his head on, and I'm going to have him facing this way. Now, one of the nice things with this set is, of course, when you're printing it, you can always reverse everything as well. So I've got some arms that are pointing out, where's this arm here? So he's pointing his left arm there. You can easily reverse it and have him pointing his right arm. That's just as simple. But so I'm just letting the glue dry a little bit on there. It doesn't feel like it's going to adhere very well. So while that's just going a little bit tacky, I'm going to just snip off these here. These are where the supports are. This is kind of like a cane that he's holding. And again, I quite like the idea that this guy is maybe a little bit older, so he can be holding his cane. Pretty similar to this guy. So there is the argument to make. Do I want the same model twice? I'll tell you what. Well, I'm going to have him with his cane. And then I'm going to have him pointing. So he will be slightly different. Or I could also have him with a sword down like so. What do you think? Do you think sword down here and pointing with the other hand? Or do you think old man with jeweled cane down here and pointing with his other hand? I'm going to do the pointing arm, so you've got until I glue the head on and find the pointing arm to decide. So let me know. I'll be keeping an eye out on the comments. I'll bung this on here. For all you Age of Sail gamers out there, this he is technically an admiral, so I haven't completely lied to you. We will get to the ships, I promise. I'm also actually going to put a little bit of glue on his collar here. And then his beard will stick to that, and it should hold him in place. His head's lent a little bit far back. The neck could probably do with shaving down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on. Ooh. I'm going to glue it on with a bit of a gap at the back of his neck there. I'll fill that later with green stuff when I'm not on stream, and then we can get that done. So I saw one vote for the cane. Anyone for the sword? Cane for the swagger. Slacking as usual. Yeah, oh, I am down here. Don't worry about that. Although you'll be pleased to hear, Dan, that the High Elf Cavalry arrived today, so I can start on the Last Alliance. So me and General Dan are off to a Lord of the Rings doubles event with the Last Alliance. So Dan's taking the army of Numenor. Is he Numenor? I think he's Numenor. He'll tell me anyway. And I am taking the High Elves of Gil-galad. So, okay, for a bit of swagger, sword on hip. No, that's fair enough. So there we are. He's pointing. There we go. I'm going to make a slight complaint here. This is a little bit of a gripe. It is Numenor, yeah. I'm going to make a little bit of a gripe and say he could do with having more jewels on his fingers. I mean, like, these guys would be super blinged up. So he could do with having, like, rings on his fingers, really. That would be cool. But, never mind. A full metal Numenor army on paint on my shells. Well, there you go, you see. So it's not just me, Dan. So there we go. Well, I think the winner was the cane. So we'll go with the pimp stick. There we are. Will you use original Numenorians or something printed? Well, it's Dan's army for the Numenorians. He's going to use the original ones. I think metal ones, actually, because it's an official Games Workshop event. So they only allow their own models, which is fair enough. There we go. So that's him built there. Very nice. Happy with him. I'm going to let him stand up to dry. Now this guy here, he's sort of punching the air in a, I don't know, maybe he's run up the stairs at Philadelphia Museum or something. So, yeah, he's very pleased with himself. He's glad that his feet are back on. And he's going to have a helmet. Now he's going to make quite a nice Pancerni or a, what do you call them? And a regular cavalryman. The name momentarily escapes me. But he is looking lovely. He's a bit more medieval, but that's okay, because the idea of the Ottoman army was that I could use it for Renaissance or for Napoleonics as well. So that would work out quite nicely. So we've got this guy here. He's also on a barrel. Now, while we're here, I'm going to quickly do him as well. Let's see what parts I've got from him. So he can be punching the air as well, similar to the other guy. Or we can have him pointing. There's a lot of pointing going on. I could have them like next to each other like a boy band. That could be quite cool. Ooh, now this arm I like. This arm I like a lot. So he's got a bit of a weird like cupped hand almost. I wonder if these were sculpted with Hero Forge, the Hero Forge program, because they look very similar. Now this guy I'm just going to give a turban to. I'm not going to give him an armored helmet because I want him to be a little bit different. So the first thing I need to do really is glue his scimitar on, because that's what his hand is going to be cupping. He's going to be cupping the end of his scimitar. So let's get that in place first. There we are. Very nice. Yes, now these are Wargames Atlantic. These are really nice. These are the first of their models I've printed, actually. I did buy their Russians in greatcoats, but I haven't got around to printing any yet. I've got a plate set up, but I was too busy printing cosplay parts to do them. So, and then I ran out of resin. So, not for my cosplay, I hasten to add. No, absolutely no one wants to see that. So, nope, it's not quite drying yet. So I'm just going to let that start to go tacky a little bit, and I'll come back to him. Similarly, this guy, he's going to need a scimitar as well. Now there's a support there, so let's get rid of that. There we are. Push that one out there. And again with this one, now the problem is with this, there's little loops which are absolutely gorgeous, really, really nicely modeled. There's even a hole inside the like the O-ring, which is phenomenal and really good. But it does mean that I'm gluing sort of edge to edge, which doesn't give a great bond. So we'll see how that goes. Let's have a look. I have 6 arches in metal. That's not in my paint. That would be hilarious if they are Hero Forge. I honestly think they might be, you know. The Ottomans look cool, and that's someone who lives in a culture Balkan country. Now, I have to say the Ottomans do look cool. There's they've got a certain style about them, which I very much like. But I can understand if culturally someone wasn't too much of a fan of them, yes. I'm just going to hold that in place with my thumbnail. What is this, run out of resin of which you speak? Yeah, no, absolutely. To be honest, I try and give my printer a little break now and again. So I've actually just printed a Soviet army for Team Yankee. I've just done 24 T-72s. So that's something for Dan to enjoy. And yes, I'm just letting it, the resin's run out. I'm just letting it have a bit of a break. Now this guy here, he's the Barcelona guy. I call him the Barcelona guy because he's punching the air like Freddie Mercury does on the cover of the album. There we go. I don't know if it's the same album. I think it is. Now this glue should have gone a bit tacky now. Hopefully, it's quite warm up here, so I'm hoping it hasn't dried completely. No, it hasn't. Good. So while that's been held in place, I'll splurge a little bit more glue on there. There we go. The best part of the Ottoman army is that every unit can be so different from one another. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing I like most about them, is it's just such a crazy hodgepodge of units and models. And it really is where the ancient world meets the modern world to an extent, you know, the early modern world. And it's not really the ancient world, it's more the Renaissance. But still, it's I find it a fascinating thing. The Qajar I've been reading about recently as well. These are the guys who took over Iran at this time. They're a fascinating group of guys as well, but I don't think I'm going to do any videos on those. But I've been doing some research into some Russian commanders, and they fought a war against them. So there we go. So that's nicely got his hand on the hilt there. Happy with that. What am I going to do with the other arm? Let's have a look what right arms I've got. I've got pointy. That's a left arm. That's no good. I've got another pointy left arm. So you could do with a pointy right arm here, I think. What's this one here doing? All right, no, I'm basically just building this guy by the looks of things. So this arm here is resting on his little knife there. I went to, speaking of the little knives, I went to Crete recently, and they've very similar to this, their national dress. They've got these daggers stuck into their belt, sometimes 2 or 3 of them, and they were sort of selling them in the shops, the touristy shops. And I noticed that they had a groove cut down the end of the handle. So I said, eventually I said to one of the guys, I was like, look, I'm not going to buy one, but can you let me know why is there this groove down the end of the handle? And it was to put your thumb down. So when you're doing proper assassin style over the shoulder stabbing actions, like Psycho, then you can get the full purchase on the knife. I was like, okay, that's massively unpleasant, but okay, that's fair enough. I suppose that's what they're there for. So I'm going to bung these over here. I'm going to quickly pop that on his to one side, because this guy, he is going to be the Space Marine commander of my Ottoman army, and he's going to be thoroughly well armored, except for his head, because that's how Space Marines roll, and that's how this guy's going to roll as well. He's just going to have his turban on. Although, to be fair, I did hear a rumor that sometimes they had armored skull caps under their turbans. I don't know how true that is, but I did hear that. And certainly, if I wore a turban, I would have an armored skull cap on underneath mine. That is for sure. You can take that one to the bank. So let's see which way I think his head looks best. You can be looking over his shoulder here, or you can be looking over this shoulder here. I think this one over here. Greeks are scary you without weapons, just have German paratroopers. Well, absolutely. There's certainly more than one paratrooper got on the wrong end of those daggers. That is for sure. So there we go. I think that looks the best way. He's looking over his right shoulder there with his foot up on a barrel. I think he looks pretty sweet. Hello, Glenn. Armor skull caps make sense. I know Landsteks use them under their floppy hats. Oh, fair enough then. And I'm sure with them meeting the Ottomans, I'm fairly sure that they would have, one of them would have given the other ones the idea, I'm sure. I don't know which way it started round. So what I'm going to look at now are the main event. Look at the ships. Now, I left this out so I could pop this down like that. That was a good idea. Let me move it down a little bit so it's more on camera. Now, I've got the 2 prints, as I say. So these are replicas of the prints. So I can show these without the masks getting in the way. I've got one that's got the guns run out, and I've got one that's got the ports closed. So I'm going to do the one with the closed gun ports first. And basically, we've got some stripes down here. There's one there, and then there's the bottom and the top as well. Now, this is what leads to what's sometimes called the Nelson checker, and that is where it's like a chessboard effect, where you've got yellow, black, yellow, black, black, yellow, black, and so on. Now, that's not actually what happened. What happened was you've got the yellow in between the gun ports, and then obviously the black as you look into the hold, or yeah, the hull of the ship from the outside. So that's why it's black. So it's not actually a checker like that. It only looks at when the portholes are open. When the gun ports are open. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do the black stripe here. As you can see on L'Orient, which is the one that I've said is the one with the guns run out. I've done the black on the top and the bottom already. This is going to require a little bit more concentration. So I'm going to do that one not on camera. I'll do that one in my own time, because I think the other one's going to be a little bit easier to do with a little bit less concentration. Although I'm still going to have to concentrate quite a bit, I would have thought. So let's get into it. So move this one out of the way. Move these out of the way. Clear the decks, literally. And let's get this on there. So how's everyone's summer going so far? The weather here has been absolutely dreadful, but it's quite nice today. So I know you guys have been sweltering in the heat in Europe, we've been getting all sorts of doom and gloom articles on the news here. So I hope you're all doing okay. It's difficult to sympathise here because, as I say, we've had almost nothing but rain for the last month. So July certainly wasn't the hottest month on record here. And how do you guys paint when it's really hot? Are you able to, or do the paints just dry out too quickly for you to be able to do it properly? Maybe that's why Russia and Eastern Europe produce so many good painters, because the paints don't dry out there. So I'm just painting along the stripe here. As you can see, it's gone over a little there at the bottom. Now, that's not necessarily the end of the world. I can go over that with the ochre. It's raining in Scandinavia, is it? Yeah. Well, you've had what we didn't have. So what we just said, no, you can have our leftovers. So this does require a little bit of patience. This is one of the things I found about the ships, both painting them and rigging them, is it does require a different type of focus than painting the soldiers does. It's much more still. It's much more calm. Calm way of painting and modeling. I find the sometimes, particularly when you're trying to smash out the battalion in quick, smart time, can be sometimes a bit of a frenzy of painting. But with the ships, I've found that just taking your time, being a little bit more precise, a bit more circumspect, tends to yield better results. Currently, like this, I'm going to send everyone to sleep, aren't I? I can't fall asleep too much because the ice cream man's just coming. Yeah. So if you hear me like thundering down the stairs, it's because I'm off to get an ice cream. Right, there we are. So that is that one done there. Now, it's not perfect. It should really be dead straight. You might be worth actually getting some modeling tape on this if you want to make it really, really straight. But that'll do for now. I can tidy it up with some ochre later on. The weather was great for painting. I'm on Last of the Prussians. We made it to Waterloo. Epic skill. Fantastic. After 50 months out, we conclude the full order of battle for the French, Allied, and Prussians. Oh, is this for the event that's going on in Cambridge? Have I finished with my Württembergers? If so, what units did you end up with? Funny you should say modeling ASMR. Yeah, they're lovely. Funny you should say about the Württembergers. Tomorrow, General Dan and I are going to be having a battle, which will obviously become a battle report. And Dan did suggest that I use the Württembergers, which I was more than happy to do. I've got 4 battalions painted and 2 regiments of cavalry, but unfortunately, I haven't painted any commands. So that's rather put the kibosh on that one. So luckily, it's not just going to be boring old French, though. It will be an alternative flavour, but it's not going to be the Württembergers just yet. So they're going to be held back for when they're completed. In fact, I said I've just given my printer a bit of a break. The last 2 prints I did were for Württemberg command groups. So I've got 4 command groups to do. I caught my brush on something then. So I've got 4 command groups to do. They're all printed. They're all good to go. There's the second pair are just curing as we speak. So the sun's certainly nice for curing your prints, that's for sure. Any plans? Love the channel. Thank you, Panzerfaust. Thank you very much. Yes, no, modeling ASMR, that would be a thing, wouldn't it? I have to get Richie to do that with his soft Geordie tones, or maybe Ian with his nice Scottish burr. I don't know if you guys saw. He is a friend of the channel. He takes part in the in the Linny game and the Catrabra game that we did. He has his own YouTube channel as well. He's currently working on a set of skirmish rules for Napoleonics, which look like they're going to be quite interesting when he finally completes them. Yes, it's in readiness for the Cambridge event. I hope to see a few fellow group members in March. We had 3 aside, so I'm hoping for 5 or 6 to make progress. Well, pop it in the chat here, Nick. The dates and the times and all that kind of good stuff. We've got this Lord of the Rings event. I can't remember what weekend that is, but if it's not the same weekend as the Waterloo game, even if I can't play, I'd still like to pop down and have a chat with you guys and maybe do an interview or something like that for the channel if you're up for it. But that'll depend on if I've already got a prior engagement or not, I'm afraid. Just letting the detail do the work here. I've said it before, I will have to say it again. These prints are absolutely fantastic. Considering they were free, you really can't complain. So that is the line down the center there. It's a little bit wibbly wobbly at the front there. That's okay. I can fill that line out. That's no problem. Just letting it rest in the crook of my finger and my thumb. The squat pen rests snug as a gun. Bit of Seamus Heaney for you there as well. Andy, if you're watching, I know you'll appreciate that. So let's have a look. We'll have a little bit more here. It's all gone very low energy. I do apologize, but I may steer away from doing the ships on the channel on these live streams in future because I need to concentrate. That's the problem. Trimontium Hobbies, that's the one. That is the one. Check it out, guys. If you're interested in black powder stuff, then definitely check it out. His Napoleonic channel is growing. It's still only small, and it's cool to get in when it's still small. You can be one of his OGs. I don't think he's quite at 200 subs yet. I'm going to try and get him to 200 by the end of the week if we can. So I say I am. It's not me that's going to get him to 200. It's his content. So what other YouTube channels have people been watching at the moment, or just in general? I saw there's a channel called War of Graphics that I very much like. It's by Simon Whistler, who does like a million different channels. And I watched a video on the Franco-Prussian War he did recently, which was very good. I watched that yesterday. Yes, no, it was a very good video, that one. Franco-Prussian War is something which I don't really know a huge amount about. I've just downloaded all the files from the Bavarian Kickstarter that I backed. I think it was called something like Lions of Bavaria or something. In so many of your videos, you've shared your thoughts about alternative rules. You have a document or post with all your changes? Not really, because like YouTube doesn't have a place for those things. There is a YouTube page there is a Facebook page which I've uploaded things like my Ottoman rules and my 1812 rules, although my 1812 ones were I subsequently found a much better set than mine, so I tend to use those. But at the moment I don't. It's a good point though, Panzerfaust. It's probably something that I should sort out while I'm having this this downtime, isn't it? I also need to go through my playlists and sort those out because they are an absolute mess at the moment. Given I'm also doing windy boats at the moment, I've been enjoying Drachenfels' video, The Age of Sailor Ships. Oh, cool. Okay. That's a new channel to me, that one. Boots on the Table. Oh, excellent. I've not seen that episode yet. I've got it queued up to watch, but I haven't got around to it yet. I've also been looking at A Song of Ice and Fire again recently, so I've been watching some faction reviews on that one. Feel the need to bust my Lannisters out again. So there we go. Now this one, as I say, I'm doing two different ships. Only the ones with the run-out guns is going to be L'Orient, but I'm going to paint them with the same color scheme anyway. I've obviously got the paint on a twofer. Now I'm pretty happy with how straight that line there is. I'm pretty pleased with that. Chesbury plays Baratheons. General Dan's got a huge Baratheon army. I don't think we've played it. I don't think we played with it though. We sort of fell out of the game just after they came out. But unfortunately, they were very, very poorly supported here in the UK. I'm not sure what it was like in Europe, but here in the UK, they were pretty shocking. In fact, they still are, from what I understand. So I'm not sure we've had any red cloaks in about 2 years. Let's go back over here. Now this is using Abaddon Black, which is quite a thick black. This, so it's gone on quite nicely. Which prints are those? You know what? I can't actually remember. I got them from Wargaming 3D, which is where you get a lot of files from. Let me see if I can find out the actual name of the file. Give me a second. Come on, computer, you can do it. It's not actually L'Orient. It's the sister ship. 2510. Which is the Commerce de Marseille. So if you go onto Wargaming 3D, look for Commerce de Marseille, then it should come up. Or you can just look up first rate ship and free. The mistake that I've made on these was, you can see here where it got damaged, was having to drill through the sides of the ship here in order to put the thread through when I rigged the boat. Now what I should have done is I should have punched that out on the plate before I printed it. So that was a lesson learned, and that's something that I'm going to have to do next time I print some ships. But as this one stands, he's going to have to do as is. I'm going to have to put some string through the back rail here. I'm going to have to repair this and sort that out. I don't know what I'm going to do at the front. I might have to put a rail across here and then and put it through there as well. So this bit here, I can be a little bit more free with this. A little ladder on the side. I don't want to paint over that. I want to keep that yellow if I can. It might even be painting between the treads there. Ends up just bringing that ladder out a little bit more detail. There we go. I'm just sort of using the flat of the brush. I'm just dabbing the paint around, really. I'm just getting sort of the first coat on, and then I can go back and neaten it up or go over where I need to a bit later. But the focus here is getting that hard top edge, which is slightly raised on the model, so you would think that would make it easier. But due to my ineptitude, I'm making it far more difficult for myself than I need to. Lost Heresy, cute Horatio Hornblower books, absolutely. Glamour Smashed Face, howdy to you, my friend. Where are we? So we're down at the bow now, the front of the ship. I'm going to do up here to the figurehead as well. There we are. Now these are first rates. These are big old boys, these ones. So they're a nice size. It's quite I don't know if these are easier or more difficult than the smaller ships, to be honest. It's some 2 French first raters smashed faces is what we're doing today. So they've got 120 guns each. And they are big. How's that brush working for ship painting? It's okay. It's as I say, I'm just doing the side of it. It's seen better days, the brush, to be honest, which is what I'm a little bit concerned of. I do have a brand new fine detail brush which I can go back in and do the edges with, so I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. If I can make it, would be great to see. Yeah, well, no, thanks, Nick. It would be definitely great to get down. Bring the frontier sea, the Napoleonic Wars in the Adriatic. Okay, that does sound interesting. The link does not look right. Details are 29th of September to the 1st of October. I think that is not the weekends. I think the weekend's more in the middle of the month. So that could well be a goer, that one. I might not need to, I might probably not take part in this one, though, because I'm not sure my blood pressure could handle it again. Got some killer ships here in the Baltimore Harbor. Now I can imagine you do, yeah. Yeah, Boston is on my bucket list. I really want to go and see the USS Constitution. Right, so there we are. I've not done the stripe down the middle there yet. What time are we on? 46 minutes. So I've got about 15 minutes to go. So I might give that one a go then. Oh yeah, that's the other one I need to get around to doing as well, isn't it? Is the book with the dragons. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, I'll have to queue that one up at some point. So we're doing the top of the ship as well. I'm just checking the other one. I actually had the reference material open when I did the other one. So again, I can be a little bit more adventurous here at the top, and then be a little bit more cautious as we get down to the to what needs to be ochre. Obviously, ochre doesn't cover black brilliantly, so that's why I'm trying to be as neat as possible. There we go. This ochre is quite strong though; it's showing through the black quite strongly. So I'm needing to put the black on a bit thicker than I would like to. Now you'll notice I've not done anything at the stern here. That's because I need to paint the glass first, and then I need to go back in and paint all the gold filigree. Now these ships are interesting because they look simple, but I reckon you'll spend as long painting one of these as you would a unit of infantry. I think the way to look at them isn't, oh yeah, it's only one ship, I'll be able to smash that out quickly. It's to think of them as a unit. So they'll take you as long as painting a unit of infantry would. We have a Constellation sister ship, the Constellation. Oh right, okay. I didn't realise that the Constellation was still around as well. Oh, okay, that is fantastic. Okay, and as World War II submarine. I certainly wouldn't be adverse, although to be honest, I'm not sure I'd fit into a World War II submarine. But that's a different story. The French were very aggressive, following a good advice paid off big time. Oh, fantastic. The surprise package is how good French dragoons are. Oh, good. Good. The US Constellation is a pretty famous one here. Forget Boston and come to Baltimore. Well, I may well do then. I am coming to Chicago next year. I'm not sure I'm going to get much time to leave Chicago, though. But we shall see. We shall see. We got History Galore. Well, I'd certainly rather be in Maryland than more inland, that's for sure. But I don't know. There's the lakes, I suppose, so they've got to have some. They've got to have some, lake stuff going on in Chicago. Unfortunately, the reason I'm going to Chicago is I'm going to Adepticon. So unless they move that, then it's going to be Chicago for now. We got Star Force out the wazoo. That'd be cool. I'm probably not going to make it to East. I wouldn't have thought so, but you know, I mean, that's this time. That's not to say it's going to be the only time I visit the States. Hopefully, I'd like to go again. I'd like to go to the Civil War battlefield as well. Actually, the Civil War is another. The problem is with America is there is literally no part of America I wouldn't want to go to. Possibly California, but apart from California, there is no part of America I wouldn't want to go to. I mean, you've got all the like the New England stuff. Looks great. You've got the you know, all the Civil War stuff around sort of halfway down. You've got all the old West stuff and the Indian Wars stuff. You got Vegas, which I like to go to, and New Orleans, and absolutely everywhere I'd love to go to. As long as I get some decent chowder, I don't some chowder, then I don't really mind. With Chicago Theatre in the War of 1812, the yeah, not really, but the lakes certainly were. And it's my understanding that Chicago is on the Great Lakes. Now, I'm not being facetious there. I think it's on the Great Lakes. I'm not 100% certain, though. California is okay, just avoid the tech bros and wildfires and the poo all over the streets, if what I'm told about San Francisco is right. But yes, no, I'm sure there's... I would very much like to go to California as well. Joking aside. Around here. Now, this here has a specific name. I can't remember what it's called. It's where the anchors sit. Now, I was going to leave those yellow because on the other one I've done them black. But as you can see, I've actually got some paint on there. So I'm just going to do these black as well. You would like to visit Vegas for historical reasons? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, no, joking aside, so in my younger, wilder days, my girlfriend and I, or my then girlfriend and I, were looking for a night out that was cheap because we were poor. And we found that there were a lot of pubs in around here that did poker nights. So we go to the poker nights, and then we ended up actually being pretty good. Now, so we, you know, sort of the relationship ran its course. We broke up, and I haven't played poker since we broke up. But we used to, we turned sort of semi-pro at one point. Or well, she certainly did. So one of the things I'm looking forward to the most about Adepticon is playing poker. As daft as it sounds, I'm really looking forward to the poker night. You must see 505 in Chicago. I don't know what that is, Chris. What's 505, buddy? I was also hoping to do some shooting as well, but that's not happening in Chicago. Although I certainly would in Vegas. But again, you know, sort of in my time, I've managed to shoot an SA-80, which is the British Army rifle, and I can assure you it is not good. The GPMG, which was awesome, and a Browning 9mm, which was cool. Although I have to say, I'm pretty good with a rifle. I'm quite a good shot. The GPMG, you're supposed to fire in 3-round bursts. I was at that. The Browning high power, I was absolutely appalling with. I'm not sure I even hit the target. Pistol shooting and me not got a great track record. I'm not going to lie. The U-505 German submarine. Oh, right, fantastic. Oh, yes, no, well, that's yes, you are indeed correct. I will have to go and see that. That is a must-see. Again, let's just hope I fit inside. But yes, no, that is definitely a must-see. Could I say again that new channel you mentioned with the black powder Napoleonic content? I couldn't find it. It is, it's got a weird name. We have spoken about the name. Let me scroll up because Clive mentioned it earlier on. It's called Trimontium Hobbies. So it's TRIMONTIUM and then hobbies. What I did is if you go to the search bar and look for Ugamore hovels, then it should come up, because his latest video is comparing the hovels Ugamore to the Sarissa one. So that's his latest one. It's a good it's a good review, actually. I say it's a good review. I watched about 2/3 of it, but I had to stop after that because, unfortunately, it was time for me to go to work. So I was putting it off and putting it off, but I could put it off no longer. So you can see on this side, what we're going to finish off with is we're going to do the top here with this line down the middle. That is definitely going to need tidying up, as is the line down here. But I've got a smaller brush for that, and I'm going to go back in and do that probably off camera, because I don't want to rush it, and I'm not sure I've got time right now to do it anyway. So let's see how we're doing down here. Now, I did think, because I'm on my summer holes, of painting something different. So not Napoleonics, but as I mentioned, I've got these Lord of the Rings models to do. I'm also painting up a World War II Japanese army at the moment for bolt action, as well as a Fallschirmjäger army as well, actually. So let me know, would you mind seeing some other content, something that's not Napoleonic, or should I keep on doing either the ships or the Irish Legion that we were doing before we had the break, or something else, maybe the Württemberger Commanders or something like that? What would you guys like to see? Because ultimately, there's no point in me doing something that no one's interested in. I know the naval content is not quite as popular as, well, it's not even not quite as popular. It's nowhere near as popular as the land-based stuff. But these models are just so nice that I couldn't resist getting them done. But yeah, would you tune in for to just hang out and paint some non-Napoleonic stuff, or is it the Napoleonic stuff that you come for, that you enjoy? This is just for these live streams in August, not after that. We'll be back to Napoleonic stuff after August. The main thing about the Japanese is I'm scared that Alex from Storm of Steel will watch and then tell me off for using the wrong paint. Even though it is called Japanese infantry uniform, he absolutely he absolutely despises it, which is quite fun. Since I'm mostly listening, well, see, that's what I assume, is that people are more listening than watching anyway. So that's good. There we go. High power is one of my favorite pistols. Okay. I'd like to say I can compare it to other ones, but that is, as I say, it's the only one I fired, and I was embarrassingly bad with it. So I would like to have another go. Maybe my stance was wrong or something like that. I'd certainly like to try a Colt 1911 though, because they are absolutely iconic. I'd also quite like to fire a Thompson as well, but there it is. Shootings happen all the time in Chicago. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Do what brings you joy in historical. Well, thank you, Lost Heretic. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll have a look then. We'll have a look. We'll see what tickles my taste buds next week. It should really be the High Elves, because they desperately need to get done. But we will see. They are Perry sculpts as well, so they're not a million miles away from historicals. In fact, it's the box that arrived today are the new High Elf Cavalry. I think they're Rivendell Cavalry, I think they're called. And I've just had a very, very quick look into the box, and it's an absolutely gorgeous set. Really nice. It reminds me a lot of the Victrix sets, in so much as you sort of, you might glue half a horse to the other half a horse, but that's also got like the left-hand side of the rider on. So then you glue the front of the rider on, but that includes the head as well. So they are more complex than the Victrix, the new Victrix kits. I don't say that to insult the Victrix kits, but they look as dynamic as those ones. So I'm quite looking forward to building them, actually, and seeing how they look when they're done. Particularly as the last ones I did were the Easterling Cavalry, which I thought were, again, they were some absolutely gorgeous models, definitely amongst my favorite kits for Lord of the Rings. But I don't think they're anywhere near as good as these high elf ones. So so yeah, that was quite a pleasant surprise. Now you can see here I've got a big old blotch on the deck there. That's not a problem. I've not painted the deck yet, and I'm going to be using a Games Workshop base paint to do the deck. So I'm probably going to use Steel Legion Drab for that one. So that should cover the black reasonably well, and it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I'm just going on here as well. Now again on here, if you get black on the cannons, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because they would paint the cannons on a ship, probably with pitch. And that's just to stop them, the sea air from getting to them. I'm not sure if rusting is the right word, oxidizing, or being corroded by the salty air would be why they would paint them. I'll just go back in and do the inside of the scuppers here. I'm not sure if that's the right term for it. Again, it doesn't matter if I get it on the deck, because I'm going to be painting the deck anyway. I'm not using a contrast paint, so the undercoat of the deck doesn't hugely matter in this case. Go under here. Let's just get that one done. Now these ones here, these gun ports for the top gun deck are open, so we're going to have a little bit of the checker pattern going on there, but shouldn't be too bad. There's another line here that's going to need painting. So between the top deck, well, the top deck and the second deck. It's not called the second. I know what it's called. There's naval people out there. You guys will know. My knowledge of naval terms is only slightly better than my knowledge of horse terms. And as some of you will know, I know absolutely nothing about horses whatsoever. Clive, he's your horseman. Certainly not me. When I was a kid, I got bitten by a pit pony. That was where my hanging around with horses began and ended. So there we go. Now I'm going to hold it upside down. I'm just going to do one last thing here. If you're trying to get a straight line, something that I find can be helpful. This is good if you're doing flags, or if you're doing anything like that requires a straight line, vehicles or anything like that. Is get the paint that's not too thick. Push down on the tabletop and get the brush level with the line that you're wanting to do, and then just run it across. If you've got shaky hands like I do, this can be quite helpful in controlling the brush. Now, unfortunately, there's bits that stick out. This means I can't do it all the way here, but you can do it for a large portion of the way. Do you know the way? There we are. So, very good. We've gone over time. I'm just going to very, very quickly, I've bigged this brush up quite a lot, so I'm just going to quickly pull out my super detail brush, and we'll quickly tidy up that line there. I've got some thinned down black, and this, I'm afraid, is going to have to be a concentrating moment. I'll just try and square off these lines. Let's see how that looks. Well, it's not perfect. It's certainly not perfect. There's a little bit of a blob there. But it's certainly getting there. It's certainly getting there. This is never going to be an award-winning paint job. Unfortunately, I've had to sort of come to terms with the fact that that's never going to happen. But, it's about having a good paint job one that's good enough. And just quickly before we go, I'm going to quickly do this bit here using the very fine brush. Just to give you an example of how it's going to look when it's done. This probably would have been a lot easier if I'd not put the masts on first. But the reason I did that was because there was some liquid resin in the holes where the masts go. So I've actually managed to put the masts in, cure the resin, so that it gives them that extra stability. And they're in there, they ain't coming out, that's for sure. But then the downside of that is they might snap off. Now, once they've been rigged, it should be fairly sturdy. But until that point, they are a little fragile. So here we go. It's Bumblebee the ship. There's a little bit there that needs squaring off. That cannon sticking out is stopping the brush. There we are. There's a little bit down here. I am going to have to knock it on the head in the next 5 minutes, I'm afraid, guys. But let's see how we get along. We'll do from the ladder backwards, from the ladder aft. You see I've not done the inside of the rail or anything like that yet. But I can go back and do that off camera. That's not the end of the world. We'll just get that up there. Shit. There we are. Following the contour of the ship is proving quite challenging as well. Still, it's all a learning curve. I'm very glad I didn't pay 30 quid for this ship, because I'd be a lot more frustrated with my poor painting efforts if I had it done. So there we go, the Commerce de Marseille. That's it from the aft back. You can see I'm going to have to do a lot of neatening up here, a lot of tidying. It might actually end up being that I use a pen to do these. But very, very roughly, there we have the size of the ships there. As I say, it does definitely need straightening off, but we're going to have to leave it like this for now. And then at some point in the week when I fancy punishing myself, I'll go back and we'll look at that. Quickly before I do sign off, though, this is the problem, is that there's always just one last thing. I'm like the Columbo of painting. I can't leave that blob there and that blob there. They offendeth mine eye. So quickly grab the ochre. This is Avaland Sunset. So quickly grab that. Maybe made that a little bit too thin. And just pop that up here, right up to the black line, so we can make that nice and square. So there we go. That's the end of it. So I'm just going to quickly do the back here, and then we can knock it on the head for today. There we are. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed it. We've talked about a load of old cobblers today, but that's okay. It's been nice hanging out with you guys. That's what we do on holiday, isn't it? So thank you very much. As I say, check out Tremontium Hobbies. Clive has put the name of the thing in the comments there. Also check out the what's the one I'm thinking of? The Waterloo Epic game in Cambridge, if you get a chance. Will I paint there? Let's quickly go through the comments here. I'll tune in if the Napoleonic Wars leads to the rise of German military and modern warfare. You can make a link to Bolt Action. Well, that's true, yeah. Will I paint the High Elves golden or more green? Maybe silver. I'm probably going to do them silver, actually. I'm planning on doing Gilgalad gold. The rest of them will be silver. It's funny how many Warhammer and historical YouTubes are secretly Middle-earth strategy. Honestly, I think it's the best set of rules against Earthship I've ever done. Possibly Battlefleet Gothic. It's a toss-up between Middle-earth or Battlefleet Gothic for me. If I get a chance to shoot the SIG P320, just okay, fair enough. So were nappy cannons cast iron? Yes. Well, some of them were. Some of them were bronze. Some of them were iron. It depends. Sharp end and the blunt end, absolutely. Yeah. You know the way. Yeah, you know the meme. That's the important thing. Right. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. We got through quite a lot. We got through the Imperial Guard band, the engineers, the ships, the Ottoman admirals. It's all gone crazy today. The best rules GW have ever done, not a high bar. No, that's absolutely true. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another live stream. Cheers, guys. Thanks. Bye.